Here you go, one more.
Thank you. The must has a nice touch.
Here you are, one for each of you.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
Indeed, most excellent.
No one expected first contact to happen in a roadside coffee shop. It was a small place in northern Italy, tucked between a bakery and a bookstore. The sign outside read, Caffè Rora. Inside, the scent of roasted beans and warm milk floated like a promise. Humans came and went every morning, chasing caffeine and deadlines. That was where the alien cubs landed. Their ship, if you could call it, that looked less like a vessel of interstellar travel and more like a metallic walnut. It hummed softly as it cloaked itself behind a row of dumpsters. The hatch opened with a quiet hiss. 3 small beings stepped out. They were barely 3 feet tall, with oversized silver eyes and skin that shimmered faintly blue in sunlight. Their heads were round, their limbs thin, and their ears slightly pointed like curious foxes. They wore tiny adaptive suits that flickered to match Earth's atmosphere. These were not warriors. They were children. On their homeworld, Varelia 9, they were known as exploratory cubs younglings selected to study emerging civilizations. Humans had only recently been marked as mildly interesting, possibly chaotic. The mission was simple: observe and report, but that was before they smelled the coffee. The smallest cub, Zuri, froze mid-step. Her nose twitched. Her pupils expanded dramatically. "Commander Vex," she whispered, clutching her translator orb. "There is something." Vex, the oldest at the grand age of 9 Varelian cycles, straightened his uniform. "Focus on the mission, Ziri. We are here to evaluate humanity's technological and diplomatic potential." "I think their potential smells like toasted chocolate," Ziri replied. The third cub, Maiko, was already scanning the air with a handheld device. The screen glowed red. "Unknown chemical composition detected," Miko announced. "High levels of comfort. Warmth index, extreme. Alert level, cozy," Vex frowned. "Cozy is not a tactical threat." "Maybe it is," Ziri said gravely. The 3 cubs followed the scent trail around the corner and stopped in front of Caffè Rora. Through the window, they saw humans seated at small round tables. Steam rose from delicate cups. Foam crowned each drink like clouds captured in porcelain. Ziri pressed her face against the glass. "What is that white substance?" Maiko scanned again. "Milk foam, aerated dairy secretion." There was a long silence. "It looks important," Vex decided. Using their adaptive camouflage, the cubs slipped inside unnoticed. The bell above the door chimed softly, but no human turned their head. It was mid-morning peak distraction hour. Behind the counter stood Sophia, the barista. She moved with practiced precision, pouring espresso shots and steaming milk until it sang. She swirled the pitcher, then tipped it gently. A perfect leaf formed in the foam. Ziri gasped so loudly her camouflage flickered. "What is she doing?" Vex whispered. Maiko zoomed in. "She is creating art in liquid form. This species decorates its stimulants." Vex's eyes widened. "They ritualize their energy consumption. On Varelia 9, energy was consumed via nutrient capsules, efficient, tasteless, gray. This is something else." Sophia placed the cappuccino on the counter. "Marco, 1 cappuccino." A human male approached, smiling sleepily. He took the cup, inhaled deeply, and closed his eyes as he took a sip. The transformation was immediate. His posture straightened. His expression brightened. He looked alive. Zuri clutched Vex's arm. "It's a power-up potion," Maiko nodded seriously. "Emotional uplift detected. Cognitive clarity increasing." Vex swallowed. "We must test it. Commander, that violates Protocol 7. No direct interaction with indigenous consumables." Vex hesitated. Ziri stared at the foam art. Protocol 7 never mentioned foam shaped like a heart. Moments later, 3 tiny blue figures stood invisibly on the counter. Sophia turned to prepare another drink, unaware as Ziri dipped a cautious finger into the foam. She tasted it. Her entire body froze. Her eyes went wide. Her bioluminescent freckles lit up like constellations. "Oh," she breathed. Michael blinked. "Report." Ziri grabbed the edge of the cup and leaned in for a full sip. The effect was immediate and catastrophic in the best possible way. Her small form vibrated. Her translator orb emitted sparkles. Her suit changed colors rapidly, cycling through the visible spectrum. "Commander!" she gasped. "It's magnificent." Vex looked at Maiko. Maiko looked at the foam. Protocol 7 trembled in the balance. 2 seconds later, all 3 cubs were drinking from the cappuccino. Their camouflage failed entirely. 3 glowing blue alien children stood on the cafe counter, covered in milk foam mustaches. Marco screamed. Sophia dropped the milk pitcher. The entire cafe went silent. Vex slowly lowered the cup. There was a long, heavy pause. Ziri licked foam from her lip and smiled at the humans. "Greetings," her translator orb chimed cheerfully. "We come in peace, also. Do you have more of this?" No one moved. Then, unexpectedly, Sophia stepped forward. She blinked once, twice. Then she leaned down, studying the tiny beings. "You're adorable," she whispered. Vex straightened his tiny shoulders. "We are representatives of Virelia 9. Yes?" Sophia nodded. "Of course you are." She looked at the half-empty cappuccino. "You like cappuccino?" All 3 cubs nodded so hard they nearly fell over. Sophia glanced at the stunned customers, then back at the cubs. "Well," she said slowly, "first contact deserves proper hospitality." She picked up another cup. Steam rose again. Milk frothed. The cubs watched in reverent silence. That was the moment humanity unknowingly secured its place in the galactic community, not with weapons, not with speeches, but with perfectly textured milk foam. As Sophia placed 3 tiny espresso cups on the counter, each crowned with a delicate heart, Vex activated his wrist communicator. In the silent, infinite darkness of space, a sleek obsidian vessel, the Varelian cruiser, lurks in the long shadow of Earth's moon. Its design is a marvel of alien engineering, all sharp angles and smooth, flowing lines, invisible against the star-dusted black. Deep within this silent hunter lies its heart, a circular council chamber, pristine and sterile. The walls, the floor, the domed ceiling all are crafted from a material that emits a soft, internal white light, casting no shadows. Here, gathered in a solemn circle, sit the Varelian elders. Their forms are tall and slender, draped in ornate robes of shimmering, silvery fabric that whispers with their slightest movement. Their ancient, wise faces, etched with the gravity of ages, are fixed on the center of the room, their multiple eyes wide with anticipation. They listen, not with their ears, but with their entire being, to a transmission rippling across the void. Suddenly, the air in the center of the chamber shimmers, and a column of light solidifies into a holographic projection. The image flickers, stabilizes, and the stark white chamber is filled with an unexpected scene of warmth and comfort. There, in the hologram, sit 3 small, glowing blue alien cubs. Their bodies emit a gentle, ethereal light, and their large, curious eyes blink slowly. They are seated in what is clearly a human establishment, a cozy, warmly lit cafe on Earth. Exposed brick walls are adorned with quirky art, and the soft glow of Edison bulbs hangs over wooden tables. But the most endearing detail, the one that holds the council's absolute attention, is the delicate white mustache of milk foam that adorns each of the cubs' upper lips. A close-up view zooms in on a cup held by one of the cubs. There, atop the swirling brown liquid of a cappuccino, the foam has been crafted into a perfect, delicate heart. A collective gasp, sharp and synchronized, echoes through the sterile chamber. The elders lean forward, their expressions a fascinating mixture of utter shock, profound disbelief, and a dawning, unexplainable awe. This was not the report they were expecting. The scene dissolves from the cold light of the cruiser to the rich, warm atmosphere of the daily grind cafe on Earth. Time itself seems to have paused. Every human in the cafe is frozen in place, a gallery of suspended animation. A woman mid-sip, her coffee cup hovering before her lips. A man with his newspaper held aloft, his eyes wide over the top edge. A barista, milk pitcher in hand, staring with a mixture of fear and absolute fascination. Their collective gaze is fixed on the three small, glowing blue beings who have just materialized in their midst. The air is thick with a cautious wonder, the scent of roasted coffee beans mingling with an energy that feels ancient and otherworldly. The silence is broken by the cubs themselves. Ziri, the smallest of the three, breaks into a wide, innocent beam, a gesture so universally friendly it seems to disarm the very air. Maiko, ever the analyst, raises a small, three-fingered hand. A thin, red beam of light projects from a device on their wrist, harmlessly scanning a bewildered young man named Marco from head to toe. Marco just blinks, too stunned to even flinch. Then Vex, the apparent leader, speaks. Their voice is not their own, but a calm, synthesized translation that emanates from a small, glowing disk on their chest. Greetings. Your planet's aromatic emulsion of roasted bean and heated bovine lactate is satisfactory. The translated words, so formal yet so mundane, hang in the air, adding a layer of absurdity to the already surreal moment. The dam of silence breaks. A phone is shakily raised, a picture is snapped, and within seconds the internet explodes. We see a rapid-fire montage of social media feeds scrolling at impossible speeds. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok all are flooded with the hashtag #AlienCappuccino. Grainy photos and shaky videos of the glowing cubs go viral. News channels interrupt their regular programming, their graphics bold and urgent. First contact in a coffee shop? News helicopters like metallic dragonflies swarm in the sky, their cameras all pointed down at the unassuming rooftop of the daily grind. Far above, in the cold vacuum of orbit, we see military satellites slowly, deliberately repositioning, their powerful lenses zooming in, focusing all their technological might on this one small café in a quiet city block. The world's attention has been captured, not by a spaceship or a weapon, but by three little blue aliens with a taste for coffee. The low thrum of helicopters is soon drowned out by a cacophony of wailing sirens. The cozy atmosphere of the cafe is shattered as military Humvees and armored personnel carriers screech to a halt outside, their tires smoking on the asphalt. Doors are thrown open, and a squad of heavily armed soldiers, clad in black tactical gear and helmets, floods the street. They move with practiced, lethal efficiency, forming a perimeter. The cafe door bursts open, and the soldiers cautiously enter, their rifles raised, red laser sights dancing nervously across the room. The patrons cower behind tables and chairs. The soldiers form a tight semicircle, their weapons all aimed at the three small, glowing figures who seem utterly unconcerned. The air crackles with tension, a standoff. The fate of two species hanging in the balance, right next to the pastry display. The commanding officer, his face a mask of grim determination, steps forward. Identify yourselves, state your intentions. He barks, his voice tight with adrenaline. But Ziri, the small, bright-eyed cub, simply tilts their head, seemingly unfazed by the display of force. With a grace that defies the tension, Ziri picks up a fresh cappuccino from the counter. The barista had apparently finished it on autopilot and waddles forward. The soldiers tense, fingers tightening on their triggers. Ziri holds the cup up towards the commander, an innocent, offering gesture. For you? The translator chirps, the synthesized voice filled with a guileless sincerity. The commander stares, utterly dumbfounded, at the steaming cup with its perfect foam heart. The tension, stretched to its breaking point, doesn't snap, it dissolves. A young soldier near the back, his rifle still aimed, but his posture softening, sniffs the air. His voice is barely a whisper, but it cuts through the silence. Is that cinnamon? The question is so mundane, so human, it's comical. The commander slowly lowers his weapon, his gaze shifting from the cub to the cup. The scene transforms. One by one, the soldiers relax. Awkwardly, hesitantly, they accept the cappuccinos that the barista, now back in action, starts preparing with trembling hands. Weapons are leaned against a wall next to a coat rack. The tense standoff has become the universe's most unlikely coffee break. Soldiers in full combat gear are awkwardly sipping from delicate ceramic cups, trying not to spill on their body armor. Back on the Viralian cruiser, the council chamber is no longer filled with shocked silence, but with vigorous animated discussion. The hologram now displays a formal document, its text glowing in their native script. After reviewing the data, the viral hashtags, the peaceful resolution, the undeniable appeal of the news spread faster than foam could rise. Earth's first alien visitors were tiny, glowing, cappuccino-loving cubs. The world had reacted, predictably chaotic curiosity mixed with cautious excitement. Social media exploded. Memes, hashtags, and viral videos showed 3 tiny blue aliens perched on cafe counters, drinking foam with the kind of joy humans could only dream of on a Monday morning. But while Earth giggled, the Galactic Council of Virelia 9 was strategizing. "This is unprecedented," Elder Thorin said. "They are small, yes, but their species wields influence through beverages? Not just beverages," Elder Myra corrected. "They wield ritualized energy consumption. Their coffee culture promotes emotional stability, collaboration, and, surprisingly, rapid alliance formation." Meanwhile, back at Café, the Cubs had settled into what they quickly deemed Earth HQ. The cafe became their observation post, study area, and primary source of cappuccino. Ziri bounced in excitement. "We could study them forever. Look at the foam art. Look at Marco's smile. Did you see how they share biscotti without asking for credits?" Vex, ever the cautious commander, tapped his translator orb. "Observation remains primary mission. Do not interfere beyond consumption protocols." "Consumption protocols?" Myco blinked. "That sounds like heresy." "I am enhanced." Indeed, after several cappuccinos and a few chocolate sprinkles, Myco's glow had reached new intensities. He floated slightly above the counter, beaming. Sophia, ever patient, leaned over and whispered, "You don't have to hide it. Here, we share everything." The Cubs exchanged looks of awe. Sharing was not common in Virelia 9 society. There, gifts were calculated, interactions scheduled, and energy rations strictly rationed. Here, humans handed it freely cappuccino, cookies, even kindness. Outside, the world's military and scientific organizations were mobilizing. Earth governments had realized something vital. If these Cubs were allowed to leave, humanity could gain access to interstellar allies and potentially technologies far beyond their current reach. Lieutenant General Alvarez scratched his head. "So, they're tiny, adorable, and they like coffee. How do we negotiate this?" Marco, ever the cafe philosopher, shrugged. "Maybe we don't negotiate. Maybe we just drink cappuccino together." Back inside, Ziri was teaching Myco and Vex about human interactions. Step 1, smile. Step 2, accept the beverage. Step 3, allow emotional uplift to occur. Step 4, observe chaos without panic. Myco scribbled notes in his translator orb. Step 4 is difficult. Humans panic at odd intervals. Vex, sipping carefully from a perfectly foamed cup, looked outside at the line forming at the cafe. Reporters, scientists, soldiers, curious citizens. Step 4 is unavoidable, he muttered. Then came the unexpected. A group of officials arrived, diplomats from several nations. They were dressed in formal suits, trying their best to look professional while attempting not to trip over camera wires. They had one goal: make first diplomatic contact with alien life on Earth. Sophia raised an eyebrow. "You do realize they just like coffee, right?" Vex nodded gravely. "Coffee is their language. Foam is their handshake." The diplomats hesitated. Then, slowly, they stepped forward. One reached for a cup. Another mimicked a foam swirl. Ziri giggled. "Excellent. You are learning," Mako whispered into Vex's ear. "Commander, this could revolutionize diplomacy. Instead of treaties and protocols, we simply serve cappuccino." Vex nodded. "It is, surprisingly effective." By mid-afternoon, the cafe had transformed into a global diplomatic hub. Tiny blue cubs sat on counters, humans and officials shared cappuccinos, and the world watched in real time, captivated. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council received regular updates. "Commander Vex," Elder Myra said, watching live feeds. Your cubs are achieving unprecedented rapport with the humans. Initiate latte diplomacy protocol. Vex tilted his head. Latte diplomacy? Myra smiled. Yes, it is now the official method of peaceful first contact. Beverages shared, hearts opened, alliances formed, observe, document, and enjoy responsibly. Back on Earth, Ziri raised her cup toward the diplomats. To cooperation, Maiko added, to Cappuccino. Vex, ever the commander, simply nodded. Foam on his lip, glow bright, ready for whatever would come next. As the sun set over the little Italian town, the cubs had learned something profound. Some of the universe's most complex problems could be solved with the simplest of rituals. Cappuccino, sharing, joy, and, somewhere beyond the stars, other civilizations were taking notes, wondering how a tiny café on Earth could become the center of galactic diplomacy. For humanity, the message was clear. The future of interstellar alliances might just be latte-shaped. To be continued in Part 4.